I want to talk about this morning. There's a moment where he stops just for a moment. And if anybody here has ever done something you shouldn't do, and you know you shouldn't do it, you know that moment comes. It's a moment. It might be a fleeting moment for others. It might be a more extended moment. But it's a moment where you stop and say, should I be doing this? And will it really satisfy me? And what will it produce in the end? And this is where we are as a nation today in America. We're at this moment where our conscience, we're at the final pleading of conscience. The last moment where we can turn around. If we wait another 5 years, it's going to be too late. If we move towards godlessness, the time will pass. America is pursuing an illusion. An illusion that we can forsake God, we can cast off the restraints on all of our behaviors, we can pursue our own lusts, and still have a utopian end when this is all over. It's a seductive spirit that promotes the indulgence of self and claims that peace and satisfaction will be the end result. He even claims to offer peace with God. I'm telling you, this whole society is sick. As Isaiah once said about his own people Israel, from the top to the bottom,
men,
it's sick.
We were not made to live like most men. We were made to fight. We were made to strive. We were made to work. We were made to conquer. We were made to give ourselves for something that is eternal. Adam was given the command to do what? To go out and subdue. To bring everything in creation in harmony with the will of God. To do all his governing, all his things within the context of God's will. Now we live in a fallen world that lives in darkness and death. The kingdom of the evil one spread abroad throughout the land. You and I were not called to play video games. We were not called to sit in front of a television set. We were not called to give ourselves to trifles. We were called to advance a kingdom. To live with a passion, to fight for Him. And to only every once in a while drop our swords and look up for a smile. I want to fight. I don't want comfort. I don't want ease in Zion. Because the kingdom of God is built not by those who rest easily in Zion, but by those who go out into the streets and fight. And the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They are mighty. Intercessory prayer, the proclamation of the gospel, and sacrificial love. Men, rise up, O men of God. Do what you were called to do. Be valiant and strong. And know that it's going to cost you.
In my heart, I've been hiding. I've been strong for so long that I'm blind. Is there a place I can go where the lonely river flows, where fear ends and faith begins? Hallelujah, hallelujah, let me in. I've been praying, but I'm paying for my sin. Won't you give me a sign?
my brethren, be strong in the Most High, and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yah, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand and withstand in the evil day. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High Yah.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1,
0. Our family of the Most High Yah, we want to welcome you to another Sword of the Spirit audio biblical teaching broadcast show. We are your hosts, the servants of Yah, and as always, we'd like to greet everyone in the name of our Master, Yahushua HaMashiach. We thank you for joining us on this set-apart day. Oh, let us give thanks to Yah. Let us call upon the set-apart name of Yahuwah. Let us make his name known throughout all the earth. Let us praise his name and tell of his mighty wonders. As we remember his mighty works on today, let us never forget the miracles that he did and that he performed for our people Israel when he brought us out of Egypt, out of slavery and bondage with a mighty hand. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Shabbat Shalom, sis.
Shabbat Shalom, sis. How are you?
I'm doing good. Now that we're on vacation.
I know, right?
But how are you doing today?
I had a little setback this morning. I had woke up with a headache over my eye, and I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to get sick on my break, so.
Yeah, today are you feeling better?
Do that, but I'm feeling a little better. I still got it, but it's like faint, so I'm here just to spread the word of the Most High Yah, so I'm not going to let it even affect me.
Yeah, well, we just pray in Yahushua's name that this unclean spirit leave in the name of Yeshua. So we go forward with the show. We're not even going to claim it.
Yes.
So we're going to get right into today's show because we have, today's show is going to be a prophetic message to the end-time body of believers. And today's 85th show is entitled The Three Unclean Spirits Like Frogs of Revelation 16 and 13. So definitely today, if you are joining us, you're listening in, please make sure you have your Bibles and that you have your notepad and your pencil because you are going to need to take notes for today's show. Today's show is, I was led as always to do this message. I actually had another lesson in mind when, the Set Apart Spirit redirected me.
Yeah.
So I came across this scripture, and I was unctioned in my spirit to do some studying on it. And as I began to do some studying, and I'm writing down notes, and then the next thing you know, I have a lesson. And so, and the more information that the Set Apart Spirit gave me regarding the prophetic message of Revelation 16, and then he took me back to Exodus, and then even in the garden, and it's just so many things that we're going to learn today with this. So everyone is definitely going to need to have, I want you to follow along, with the Bible and your, and take notes because you're going to need to. So today's message, again, is the three unclean spirits like frogs of Revelation 16 and 13. And in this particular, the book of Revelations, period, the Apostle John, he received an end-time vision that the body of believers in our Mashiach can't ignore. And so today we want to talk about the symbolic meaning of John's vision of the three unclean spirit-like frogs that were being spoken of in Revelation 16. And then also who is the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet that is also being spoken of in that particular verse, and what is their united purpose in this end of age. Again, today's lesson is going to be a very in-depth lesson and warning to the body of believers in our Mashiach as we plan on revealing the prophetic message of Revelation 16, verses 13 through 15, as well as identify the connection of this scriptural verse to John's visions of these 3 unclean spirits like frogs that he saw, and how it connects to the children of Israel and the frogs that were in Egypt, and also, as I stated earlier, the sin that took place in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. The more that I keep, you know, when you read the Bible, the more that I keep reading, I'm realizing how deep this word really is. It's like, it's unending, it's infinite. You just don't, it's so much that you just don't know. It's like you think you know, and then you find out that you don't. There's more. And it's just a blessing to have his set-apart spirit, because without his set-apart spirit, you will have no understanding. Mm-hmm. You have no understanding of the mysteries of the kingdom, and I'm just blessed that Yah is giving me the things that he's giving me, and I don't ask for more than what he is willing and he feels that I'm ready to give or to understand, because a lot of times, you know, and that's what's going on with many of us in these Hebrew Israelite camps, we're trying to be so deep that we're deep in ourselves right out of our salvation. You know, we're trying to go beyond what he is giving you, and I don't have the particular scripture, but I know I have read it several times where it says, don't try to go beyond your understanding. Because when you try to go beyond your understanding of what his set-apart spirit, not your own heart of what you think it is, you end up going off an error, and then you want to go and teach off of something that Yah didn't give you, nor did he give you understanding of. So I don't teach on things. You know, people inbox me and via the YouTube channel, and I get messages, and people want me to do things, you know, on different types of shows, and I'm like, I have to be led of the Spirit, you know. I'm just not going to just do something random, especially if I have no understanding on it. I don't just do it because I feel like I'm obligated to do it because someone inboxed me or someone messaged me, can you do it on this? If I'm not feeling led to do it, or if I do not feel like I have the understanding, I leave it alone. Exactly. For the State of the Body panel discussion today, we are going to be focusing on spiritual influences. That's the title of our discussion today. And we know that there are many spirits on the earth, but how does one discern if that spirit be of Yah? We know what we're going to be talking about shortly. You know, there are many demonic spirits that are clearly running loose on the earth. Yes. And so why is it that why is it that they're not guarding their eyes and their ears more circumspectly as the Most High has commanded? And so today we just want to briefly address the spiritual influences and the false teachings of even the wolves that are amongst Israel, okay, amongst the true sheep of our Mashiach. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How can you identify them? You know, and then we want to just talk about for a minute this so-called switch it up challenge that we're starting to see across Facebook. I think our people have lost our minds. I mean, since we got dropped off on the transatlantic slave ship, I don't know if they did something to the brains, but we are out of our mind because as soon as I think one thing, I think they can't top this last thing. They come and outdo themselves with the next thing. And so we're going to talk about the Switch It Up Challenge. A couple other things we saw was the Baphomet doll that they now have out. And we just want to kind of help you to understand in many ways that unclean spirits, just how to recognize them, but how these unclean spirits can influence us in our daily lives and then hindering your growth and ultimately your salvation, which is no coming back from that. So let's just get right in to it. Let's start with the article that you wanted to read, because clearly, Prina, these demons are loose.
Yes.
And our people are asleep.
Yes. So it was an article that about a ordained pagan priest, if you want to call him. But anyway, his name was Fallon Moonsong, and he went to go take his license at a Secretary of State in Maine, and he had his horns on, and they had refused to put the horns on his picture. Well, he took it to the he not that he took it, but he brought up a claim on religious freedom. And so when he got with the and he made a complaint with the Secretary of State, he told him that he was going to contact the American Civil Liberties Union, and as soon as he mentioned that, they allowed him to take a picture with his goat horns that his friend goat had died, and so he had took the horns off the goat and had a fish hook line on his head, and so they allowed him to now, in the state of Maine, you can take a picture with goat horns on, or if it's a religious, it has to be a religious headdress. Now they are allowing you in Maine to be able to honor your pagan god because you are ordained priest, but it has to be a religious headdress in order for it to happen.
So that could be anything. I could just go and just put a puppy on my head and say it's religious and just go in there with my dog.
But you gotta have you have to have your religious documentation. So he had a handbook on, on what he worshiped in the neo-paganism organization that he was in. So he took his pamphlet of beliefs, and they honored that, and so now he is allowed, and other pagans, if you are a pagan priest and you want to take pictures with that headdress on, now it is allowed in the state of Maine.
And see, this is what happened when the law is done away with.
Exactly.
All these wicked laws that this current administration has passed, they set the stage now where you can marry your puppies. I mean, it's just anything goes now. Bestiality. Yeah, bestiality. Anything goes now. I mean, and clearly anyone who wants to put goat horns on and take a state ID picture with it, that person is possessed. Okay, there's nothing to even think about. What this person has decided. What person with a normal person who is not possessed with unclean spirits will want to go into the Secretary of State and take a state ID picture with goat horns on?
Exactly.
And so
I know, and he said the reason why he did it is because he was hoping that more pagans would feel free to express their their freedom of expression, and because a lot of them are hidden in the closet, like the LGBT community. So he wanted to.
These pagans are not hidden in the closet; they are out. Christmas
trees. But this is what the article is saying. That he said that this is the reason. The reason why he's hiding is so that they can come, out of the closet and not feel, free, not feel discriminated against, because they are now parading around in their horn heads and their paganistic garment, and so he wanted to be a voice to those people.
Yeah, he's a voice. Definitely a voice. I mean, this is what you get when they pass all the laws that they pass. I mean, we have a lawless society. They seek separate independence from Yah, and so this is what they get. I mean, this is crazy to me, but this is the times that we're living in.
Yes.
And most of the people are looking at all of this foolishness, and they're going right along with it. They see nothing wrong with it, and that's the reason why when I saw the other day, the Baphomet doll. So now they're selling the Baphomet doll. I mean, same thing as a Ken and a Barbie doll. Now those, I guess, whose parents are Satan worshipers, they now have the option of worshiping a doll that honors Satan, and it's basically pushing the transgender agenda. That's what this whole thing is about. You know, there is no such thing as male or female or boy or girl, just like Target now has, you know, removed gender labels, and it's kind of like, so we might as well just say cousin it. Because everything, you know, is nobody. What are we? There's no such thing as a world without labels, you know. And so I kind of wanted to briefly speak about this, the Switch It Up challenge that I saw this week with people, I guess in these pictures that people are posting, you know, they've had all the challenges. What was the last challenges where everyone
mannequin?
The mannequin challenge where everyone's standing still and not moving. And the Most High, and I'm like, what? This is idiotic. What is the purpose in this? And I'm like wondering, I'm praying, Father, y'all show me what is going on with this. And he showed me, he's like, this is about mind control.
Yeah.
He showed me this is about mind control. That's what the whole purpose of the mannequin challenge and every other challenge that they have had on Facebook and that has, quote unquote, sweeping the nation. And they have the people, you know, eating it up, hook, line, and sinker. Every challenge they come out with, especially our people, we're right there, front and center, ready to go along with every challenge that they have, not knowing the origin or the purpose in which they're doing these for in the first place. And all of these challenges it's just kind of like the movie They Live with Roddy Piper that we talked about that came out in the 80s. They want to see how many people are mindless, how many people will go along with the upcoming beast agenda system, New World Order, that is on its way. Okay. They want to see how many of you will they can pretty much tell by everyone who participates in these challenges who's going to take the mark in the end. And this, all the challenges that we have had have led up to this Switch It Up challenge, which is basically where you will take one photo where the male is dressed like a male and the female is dressed like a female, and then in the second photo, you will switch it up.
Yeah.
Now the female has become the male, and the male has become the female, and they have different varieties, and these photos are grotesque. Yeah, they are. That I have seen. They're to be deplored and detested and abhorred among Israel, but all the ones I'm seeing is nobody but Israel. Yeah, doing all of these things. We long to be like the nations that are around us. We long to be around the nations that are around. We long for everything that they do. We follow behind the customs, the traditions, and of the nations of the heathens that are around us. When he told us, "Learn not the way of the heathens," and it seems like we go out of our way to not only learn their way, but to be just like them, and then we want to outdo them. Yeah. But this challenge
I haven't seen one in my news feed of another nation but us.
Yes. I mean, all of the challenges, what I wanted to briefly talk about is all of these challenges are pretty much leading, all the challenges that they have had up until this Switch It Up challenge. All of these challenges they were like, okay, if we can get them to do this challenge, then we're going to get them to do this one. If we get them to do this challenge, we're going to add on another one. But finally, it's leading up to the finale of the Switch It Up challenge, which was their ultimate agenda that they have been pushing since this current administration has been in office, which is the transgender agenda. That was the whole point of all of these idiotic, mindless, challenges that they have been having. Is that since they see that they got the whole world to participate in it, now let's do the Switch It Up. Now we can cause Israel, to sin against the Father, sin against the Torah, and put that which pertaineth to a man, and the woman is going to put it on, and then vice versa. Knowing that Yah said that they who do these things are an abomination to him. But we think it's all in good fun. We can do this, no big deal, no problem. We're good. When you're sinning against the Father, everything that they do, their number one agenda in mind is how can we get the chosen people of the Most High, who have no clue who they are, to keep the Father face against them. That way, He will not fight for them. And no matter how many times we try to share the truth of who we are, people, we know I'm the Gentiles, they don't want it.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to bring this up. All of these challenges, could we please stop with these? Because most of them are very kiddish. We're grown men and women that are doing this. You look crazy as all get up doing this. And this one just tops them all. The switch it up agenda, switch it up challenge. This is nothing. This is what they all were leading up to. If we can get them to do all of these, then they think that this is harmless fun and entertainment. Then now we're going to do the switch it up challenge. Who you think is sitting up making up all these challenges? Where are they coming from, and what's the purpose of them? Who's doing all of them? Our people. Exactly. We're doing them. That was the whole purpose in all of them, and we're doing it right now. And that's why I say anybody that I see doing that, I'm just going to unfriend you right off the bat. Yeah. Because it's an abomination. Just like I did with all the people who put up changed their profile pics to the rainbow, desecrating the covenant sign of our Father Yah, and they're going to try to put up a scripture the next day. You are a hypocrite, just like Yeshua said, a hypocrite.
Yeah. Yeah, they would change their profile page to anything but for the Most High Yah, and it's just really saddening, you know. And then our people, you know, as soon as something...
Prina, your phone is breaking up. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing your phone.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's still breaking up. I'm not sure why, but it's kind of breaking up.
Okay. Hold on one second.
I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, if you're participating in these challenges, I would strongly suggest that you repent and stop doing it. Because every last one of these challenges was leading up to the one abominable challenge. That's the reason. And it's funny how this challenge came out right when the Baphomet dial came out. Because Satan is genderless. The Baphomet dial, for you don't know, that's Satan himself. Sitting there with his legs crossed, with his right hand up and left one down, and then he has boobs, breasts, and a penis. That's what this is all about. They want a genderless society with no laws and rules, and you fall up under the beast system. Pretty much anybody who's doing these, you're open season. They pretty much know they can sit down and calculate the percentage of the people that's going to accept the mark, which is the majority of the world, because it says Revelation 12:9 said that, you know, he was to see the whole world. And that's not a coincidence. But I want to talk about, you know, who's influencing you? That's what you have to understand. Who's influencing you? Who would influence a parent to buy a Baphomet doll? That's really nothing but Satan himself. Who would influence you to participate in a switch it up challenge that requires a female to put on that which belongs to clothing that belongs to a man, and a man to put on dress, lipstick, and clothes? What spirit do you think is influencing you? Do you honestly think that you have to set apart Yah and you're doing a challenge like that? And I kind of want to talk about briefly, because I have this brief audio clip that I'm going to play, because there are a lot of wolves that are in Israel. Be very careful.
Yeah.
Those of you who have come into the truth, be very careful of a lot of these Hebrew Israelite camps. I call them the alphabet boys. You know, be there. I'm not saying all of them, but the majority of them, they mix in truth with lies. They mix in just enough truth to get you, to reel you in. Then once you get in there, they're putting the women in all kind of bondage, okay? Yeah. Telling them they're covering. I'm hearing all kinds of just filth, whoring, fornication that's going on in Israel, but they're wrapped up tight. They got the look, and I'm truly convinced that all they really care about is having a title, not really caring about Yah, not really caring about drawing the sheep unto him, but drawing men unto themselves. They're seeking a following. They want men. Many of them are operating just like Satan. They want to be just like Yah. And putting all this bondage on people, twisting scripture for gain, taking tithes when they know that system is done away with, and that there are no Levitical priests, that our Mashiach is not a Levitical priesthood.
Yeah.
It's all kind of stuff that I'm hearing that's going on. People saying that homosexuality is okay as long as the husband is present. I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of stuff. Freedom Eyewitness, and I'm not going to say the name of the group, the organization, the Hebrew Israelite organization, but we actually heard one of the members in audio pretty much telling on himself. We heard him. It's all kinds of, these people are married and fornicating, wife swapping, all kinds of foolishness going on in Israel. Taking second wives, and you not even working. You shouldn't even have a wife if you're not working. So one thing I kind of want to talk about, because if you are listening to anybody, and I said this last week, that's telling you that Joseph is the father of Yeshua, a physical, earthly, fleshly man that came through the seed of Adam, where he says that all sin passed unto men through him.
Yeah.
Run far away from them.
Yeah.
They have no understanding, and they're possessed with an unclean spirit. They're an anti-Messiah. Anybody that's teaching that, anybody that say that he is not the son of Yah is an anti-Messiah. And that's not my words, but that is the words of the Father himself. If they're teaching you, if they're teaching you that Joseph is the father, that is a doctrine that comes from demons. And you need to stay far away from them, because they are not teaching what the word says. The word is clear on how our Messiah, it tells you how he came to be. I don't know where people are getting, well, I know where they're getting it. They're getting it from demons. They're getting it from unclean spirits. You need to run fast and stop listening to that person. I don't care how well they may speak, how mighty they may seem in the word. If they are teaching against the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach, they are teaching against how he came to be, they're telling you that Joseph is the father, they are anti-Messiah.
Yeah. And what people got to realize, they have to test the spirit and see whether it's coming from Yah. Measure it with the word of Yah. That's where studying comes in. You should not be just hanging on man's word alone. You need to be getting in the word for yourself. That's why many are deceived, and that's why a lot of people are going to be losing their salvation, and if they don't stop, and especially if they take a hold of this doctrine that Joseph is the father, blasphemy, you can't be forgiven of that sin. That sin is not, you're not part of it.
Yes, it is, and because you're speaking against the set-apart spirit, you're attributing the works of the set-apart spirit to that which is earthly and carnal. And so we're talking about spiritual influences. What would influence a person to say that type of thing, to teach that type of doctrine? What influences, if you're listening to someone that's telling you it's time to flee, while yet ignoring the prophecies in Scripture and how he said that we're going to return back to the land? First of all, this whole system is going to be under the beast system very soon. There is not going to be a safe place.
Yeah.
He said, I scatter and I will regather. He is going to draw us back. Anybody going back over there now, you're going back under a system that is under a wicked, evil regime, and you're going to get over there and get spanked up, and you're going to be in an army fighting. That's what's going to happen. But I want us to listen to this quick clip, Brother Deborah Yah.
Okay.
And she's going to talk a little bit more about this, and then we're going to come back and then get into today's lesson.
I wanted to talk about a number of different things as it relates to this subject. The first being the fact that Jerusalem is being trodden down by Gentiles, and the second being it's not time for us as Israel to gather back in Jerusalem yet. A lot of Israelites are talking about leaving Babylon, fleeing Babylon, going to Israel to dwell, to live. It is not time for that. This is why it's very important that we understand biblical prophecy, because right now as it stands, you are subjecting yourself to the rulership of a wicked system if you go to dwell in Jerusalem. You at a certain age are required to join the Israeli army if you go and dwell there. It's a number of different things going on. It's war torn right now. And see, right now we're so infatuated with the land. In my opinion, we're more in love with the land and being Israelites than we are with the Most High and pleasing Him. We found out that we have an inheritance with our Father. We want our inheritance. We don't want Him, though. I really, truly don't believe that a lot of people who know that we are Israelites, who have awakened to the fact that we are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of, I don't believe a lot of our people even love the Most High. He says, if you love me, keep my commandments, right? His commandments are far more than you wearing fringes and wrapping your hair and wearing your Israelite garments. You see, there's far more important things that we are not tending to as Israelites. You see, so we're trying to get over there to the land so we can say, yeah, we're the Israelites. You know, I love that song, by the way. So there's nothing against that song for any of you who recognize that that tune, that partial tune that I just had there. But yes, we are the Israelites. Yes, it is a joy to finally know who we are. But when you know who we are, you need to attach yourself to the history of who we are, too. We are the same stubborn, stiff-necked people that stiffed the Most High a long time ago. You see, and that's why we are in the position. Anyway, our people being so excited and happy to be the Israelites, we have begun to praise and worship that. The fact that we are Israel and that we have land that has been given to our forefathers as an inheritance, and that one of these days we are going to take possession of that land. The Most High is going to give us back dominion. But there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. It was prophesied when this would happen, and this is not the time, family. You see, Jerusalem is being trodden down by the Gentiles. The Gentiles are in our gates. Edom is in our gates. The Philistines are in our gates. There are other people in that land that are not our people, not Israel. And those of our people that have gone back to the land, they are taking the scripture that says possess the land out of context. It's not time for that. If you understand Bible prophecy, it actually tells you that Yahusha, Yah, is going to gather us together and put us back in our own land. He didn't say that we were going to do it. He didn't say that he was going to put us in there under Benjamin Netanyahu. No, he didn't say that. Scripture didn't prophesy that I'm going to gather my people Israel back into their own land, and they shall be ruled over by Benjamin Netanyahu or whoever is the prime minister at the time of the land of Israel. That is not what prophecy said. So all of us that are going over there, taking up residence, signing documents and signing agreements and joining armies and all this other stuff, you are out of the will of the Father. That is not what Bible prophecy said would take place. The Most High never said that we were to go and be ruled over by wicked people in the land of Israel. It's not time, family. Jerusalem is being trodden down by the Gentiles right now. That means until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. That means that their rulership is not over yet. The scripture tells you that Esau is the end of the world, of this present world, and Jacob, is the beginning of that which follows. That scripture is telling you that Edom is going to be ruling the world in this last day. And when his rulership is over, then Jacob is going to take over. Anyway, I just want our people to get an understanding of things as they attempt to migrate back to Israel, thinking that we're supposed to be there. You know, we are so quick to say, well, Africa's not our land, that's not our home. We know that. We know where our land is, but the issue of trying to get back to some place where the Most High has already told us how we were going to get back there, you're doing it before time. There's a time and a season for everything under the sun. And when you do it before time, you're going to get yourself in trouble. The Most High said when we go back to our land that we would study war no more. We would practice war no more. There's going to be no need to war because our enemies are going to be defeated. Are our enemies defeated right now? No, they are not. Because we are still in the time of the Gentiles. They still have dominion over us. This is their time. And when their time has been fulfilled, Jerusalem will no longer be trodden down by the Gentiles. Understand, family? But right now, as it stands, it is trodden down by the Gentiles, and they have dominion over us. They have dominion over us. And we are not to be trying to flee Babylon and go to Israel, which is trodden down by Gentiles, because they are not to rule over us. When our time to rule in Jerusalem comes in Israel, it would be at a time to where our enemies have already been defeated. That's the time that it will be, where our enemies will already have been dealt with by the Most High Yah. And the foot that they have on our necks right now will be there no more. You see, this is why we always say to people who want to go to Israel or get close to it. You have some people going to Egypt. I mean, just trying to get close to Israel. And it's like, yes, we do have a love for our inheritance. But I want to be there when the Scripture tells us to be there and how it tells us we're going to be there. The Scripture actually tells us this, family. It says this. It says, when we go back into our own land, it's going to be as a Garden of Eden before us. Desolation behind us. It tells you, all of you who don't study Bible prophecy and are just more infatuated with, oh, we're Israelites. Oh, we have land. Oh, we are a people. Oh, we're not Hamites. You're more infatuated with that. You're more excited about that than aligning yourself to the will of the Father. You see, because when you step outside of His will, things happen. Regardless of what it is, things happen when you step outside of the will of the Father. It is His will for us as the children of Israel to walk in obedience to His laws, statutes, and commandments. But what I see happening with our people and their excitement to be Israel, or finding out who they are dressing the part but not living the part. You see?
Prina.
Yes.
So that was, I mean, I loved what Sister Deborah said. She put it all in a nutshell.
Yeah. I like you dressing the part, but you're not lining yourself with the will of the Most High Yah, and that's our people all day. We want to know. We want to look Hebrew. We want to sound Hebrew, but we don't want to hold to what He has commanded us, and that's why we are in the same predicament
as
that they were our
forefathers
were
in the wilderness. Yeah, because like she said, we want to know when we're supposed to go back, and how. Yeah, He's already told us when and how. It's not our time. Yeah, and it's like I don't understand why everyone's like she said they want to go to Israel. If they can't get to Israel, then go back to Egypt. It's like it's not time yet. Yeah. It's not, and especially now, you better stay here, but where you are before you end up getting hooked up and can't get back here. Because they are all lining up. Everybody, the stage is set, the players are in place to get this thing going. And right now, we need to be more focused on the walk and learning how to make sure that what we're doing is lining up with the will and the word of Yah, and stop focusing on all of the outward appearance things that Yah is not going to care about. We like she said, we say this, and the thing she said today, I said numerous times. Yeah. Forget about the look. Stop trying to look Hebrew. You already are Hebrew Israelites. Stop trying to look the part and focus on the inward man. Focus on the heart. Focus on the walk. Many of you worried about looking Hebrew on the outside, but then you still fornicating. Mm-hmm. You still don't know the simple things in the scriptures. You still on milk.
Yeah, still celebrating birthdays.
There's no growth.
Nothing.
You still got to have somebody tell you something. If you studying and engrossing yourself in a word and making yourself set apart from the world, you would grow.
Yeah.
Ezra, he prepared his heart.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means to prepare? So that's what you need to focus on. Pray and prostrate yourself before the Father and pray and ask Him to show you yourself so that you can repent of those things that He finds displeasing. Pray and ask that He would immerse you in His set-apart spirit, that He would give you wisdom, counsel, and knowledge, that He will open up your eyes to the mysteries of the kingdom so that you can have understanding on how to walk correctly before Him. You don't need a camp. You don't need an organization to do that. He does give you teachers, but I don't see the point in joining all of these different camps and organizations. It's like they're operating like churches.
Yeah.
They're putting bondages on the people, and you can't make a move unless the elders say so or unless the priest say so. All this foolishness when the body submits one to another. Many of you are being influenced by spirits that are not of Yah. You're taking up a covering, but He says, but not of my spirit. What spirit is influencing you? If it's not aligned, if you see someone that is supposedly a teacher or overseer, pastor, teacher, whatever, and they're not aligning their life with the word of Yah, you are amongst a false prophet, and you need to get away from them. If they're teaching you doctrines that do not line up, you have no loyalty. You owe them nothing. You must work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You owe them nothing. Leave. Yeah. Stop hanging around in places when His Spirit is giving you unction to get up and go. When you see that things are not right, and you take it before them, and they don't want to repent of it, and they want to keep teaching this false doctrine, leave. Yeah. And that's all I have to say, because I'm going to get into today's lesson. Any last words on today's topic?
Well, you said it all, and I think I've said it all. But just like you said, you have to recognize people from the fruits that they bear, and not because they look Hebrew or sound Hebrew, or because they are a friend of yours, or they are a pastor from years ago and you care about them. It's not about that. It's about making, like Sister Shaitan say, working out your salvation with fear and trembling. And, because we are in the last days, and you do not want to get caught off guard when the Messiah comes for His people, and He come for the sword, for the judgment of those that do not, know Him, who say they know Him, but they don't, and He tell them to depart from Him. So just be about the Father's business and not man's traditions.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, sis. We're going to get right into today's lesson. Today's I'm going to do a quick recap of last week's 84th show. If you missed it, it was entitled, "These People Draw Near to Me with Their Lips, but Their Hearts Are Far From Me." And it was coming from Matthew chapter 15, verse 8 and 9, where it pretty much talked about the vain worship, where the churches of today teach the doctrines of men, and, while rejecting the commandments of the Most High. And so we talked about the prophetic message in Matthew 15 and 8, verses 8 through 9, and how it is a direct correlation to Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 through 23, which was pretty much an urgent message to the end-time body of believers who, when they stand before Him on that day of judgment, were rejected. And again, these were not atheists. These were believers, because they were standing before Him pleading their cause. Okay, I cast out demons in Your name. I prophesied in Your name. I did all these things. But yet there was still something. They had a zeal, but it wasn't according to knowledge. They had a form of godliness, but there was no power. Why was that not so? So if, many people, He called them hypocrites. We talked about how those who are hypocrites, those who provide lip service, where their life does not align up with the word, He called them hypocrites, and hypocrites is basically stage actors. When I took you to the scripture, took you to Strong Hebrews Concordance and told you what it really means, that you're just a stage actor. You're pretending to be someone that you're not. That's how you know a false prophet. The word, as Prentice said earlier, should be the barometer in which you measure. If what they're doing, how they're living their life, does not line up with the scriptures themselves, okay, then, hey, you got a false prophet sitting in your midst. You have someone, a stage actor, someone who's pretending. And I'm not talking about someone who makes a mistake, but I'm talking about someone who is practicing sin. They're not fighting the urge or the will to stay on the right track. They have yielded unto it, and then they're walking around as hypocrites. They're on Facebook posting scriptures. They got, they may have a following. They may have people coming to their congregation. They may be teaching. They got the outward appearance, the beard, the tassels, and all of that stuff. But then as soon as they turn off Facebook, or as soon as the congregation assembly is over with, then they laying down with somebody else's wife, or they're fornicating. They're not living as the word speaks. So that is the way, he says, by their fruits you shall know them. That's the way you will be able to recognize a false prophet. You can only know that if you know what the word itself says. And that's why you have to get into the word. You cannot put your trust in men, and continue to sit at somebody else's feet, and you're not even opening up the book to see if what they're telling you is a lie or not. So today's 85th show is entitled The Three Unclean Spirits Like Frogs of Revelation 16, verse 13, and I'm going to read here Revelations verse 16, verses 13 and 14. I'm going to do 15 a little later. So if you have your Bible, please open it to Revelations chapter 16, and I'm going to read verses 13 and 14. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons, doing signs, which go forth to the kings of the earth, even of the whole inhabitable world, to assemble them to the war of that day, the great day of El Shaddai. So I'm going to play a clip. And this is a clip that you're going to hear. This magician, very well-known celebrity magician, David Blaine, I believe his name is. And in this clip, he actually vomits, because you can actually see it. You can go on YouTube later and look at it. But he's at a party with celebrities that are there. And just as I read about the three unclean spirits like frogs, and in Revelation 16 and 14, it says that they are the spirits of demons performing signs. Well, you're going to see this magician. He's going to actually vomit three frogs from his mouth, holding his mouth open. I'm looking in his mouth, down his throat. There's no frogs visibly anywhere, and then he's just vomiting, and he vomits up three. And so there was a message that he was sending. Could have vomited 1, 2, but he vomited up 3. And so I kind of want to show you the correlation of that. We are back. So if you actually want to see that, you can just go on YouTube, and you can just type in David Blaine vomits up 3 frogs. And you can actually see it. I mean, it was quite disgusting. Clearly there was no frog in his mouth, and he vomited them up. 4 frogs. Immediately when this scripture was brought up, I began to study, and that's what led me to today's lesson. And he was sending there was a spiritual message in what was done. We really do need to know where we are in Scripture, and the prophecies that are being spoken. And our people are not vigilant. They're not watchful. They're not preparing. Because our Mashiach said that he's coming like a thief in the night, and no man knows when he's coming, so be ready. And our people are not preparing themselves. And he says that if you know what the will of the master is and you're not preparing, you're going to be whipped with many more stripes because you know what to do and you're not making preparation for it. We're sitting around sleeping. We're sitting around not like the man said in the audio clip, be about the business. It's time for the service of Yah to rise up. It's not enough of us out here doing the work. We're waiting on somebody else. We are many members of one body. One is not better than the other. The eye can't say I have no need of the nose, or the nose can't say I have no need of the thumb. We are all work and fit together to bring forth this kingdom. Like he said, we should not be comfortable resting, but we got a job to do. Each and every one of us, if you are truly about the Most High, if you have a set apart spirit, then you have been given a gift. There's one spirit, many gifts, but one spirit that's operating in all of those gifts. So are you truly doing the work is the question that you have to ask. So let's talk about the nature of a frog, because why was the frog mentioned? He could have said 3 unclean spirits, like a fish, or 3 unclean spirits, like the rabbit, but the frog was chosen. So let's just quickly talk about the nature of a frog. And I hope you guys have your pencil and your pads out. The nature of a frog, first of all, let's talk about, they use their tongue, okay, to catch their prey. And similar to snakes, frogs have to swallow their entire meal, and they swallow their entire meal whole, okay, because they cannot chew anything, all right? Something else that I found out about frogs is their tongues leave behind slime, okay, something that's disgusting. Something, when I looked up the definition for slime, it had dirt, filth, pollution, contamination, and uncleanness. Okay, so it gave me a better picture of why the Most High used a frog, which is symbolic, because it's not speaking of actual frogs, but it says like frogs. Okay, and so again, they use their tongue to catch their prey. And we know that the tongue, even though it's very small, scriptures tell us that it can set the whole world on fire with using the tongue. So you have to be very careful of the things that you speak, that you put out there, okay? And so, again, their tongues leave behind a slimy substance, which the definition of slime is dirt, filth, pollution, contamination, and uncleanness. We know that they're amphibians, and so that means they have no scales or fins, which according to Leviticus chapter 11, verses 9 through 12, that the Most High has pronounced them to be unclean, okay, and that they should be detestable to us. So we know that anything that is detestable is not only an abomination to eat, but in the Torah, if we or even our garments touch any unclean thing, it oftentimes meant that we were unclean until the evening, okay? And so I also thought, when I thought about the frog, revisiting what the Most High brought to me was the fairy tale of the princess and the frog. If you all remember the fairy tale, the princess kisses the toad. The princess kisses the frog, and then the frog turns into a prince. And so this a point that I wanted to remember about this is that, remember, we said that the Most High has pronounced the frog to be unclean, and just as the world tries to convince us that that which Yah has pronounced is unclean by Yah has now become clean. This is what the world is trying to convince us, that which He has said or pronounced or deemed as unclean is now clean. And the world does its best to try to convince us of this, and they try to convince us that it's what he's deemed unclean is not acceptable and ready to be digested. And they use that with Peter, and saying Peter said, rise up and eat. So that means pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster is now okay for us to eat. And so this, like I said, is the same false teaching that has gone out into the earth. The false prophets of today have convinced much of the world to accept a counterfeit good news teaching that is based on our Messiah, okay, but it's not of our Messiah. They have accepted a false religion that teaches against the very one that they claim to follow and obey. And so I kind of want to go to Strong Hebrews 5401, and we know that the Torah says to touch no unclean thing, and he says that he will receive you. And so when we think about the story of the princess and the frog, and how she kisses the frog, okay, and we know that the frog is unclean. He leaves behind a slimy substance. That which he leaves behind is, again, filthy, contaminated, unclean. But all of a sudden, when the princess kisses the frog, he turns into a prince. He's no longer unclean, but he has now become clean. And so we think about a lot of even the fairy tales, how they have started a long time ago indoctrinating us with what is coming forth, which is the beast system. They've done it. They have infiltrated themselves into the lives of our children through the storybooks, through the fairy tale stories of what I just said here, through the television, through the media, through the institutionalized religion and churches, the public school system. They have done it so subtly that by the time it's snuck up on us now, it's too late. And so, again, the princess kisses the frog turns into a prince. So she's touched him, and the Strong Hebrews 5401, it says literally, to kiss means to literally or figuratively touch. In the Greek 4352, it says literally or figuratively to prostrate oneself in homage, to do reverence to, or to adore, or to worship. And so we know that, like, again, the Torah says, touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you. But they're trying to tell you that if you touch that which is unclean, if you kiss that which is unclean, that which is unclean now has become clean and acceptable to pay homage to, acceptable to reverence, to adore, and to worship. Okay, so do you see how they have subtly tried to change our way of thinking and to make the word of Yah seem like it's a lie? They've done it so subtly that you almost don't even recognize it unless the set-apart spirit gives you revelation of it. I even thought about what came to my mind this morning just prior to doing the lesson itself was the memes with Kermit the Frog. You know, why is it that these memes, I've only seen them on Facebook, but why are the memes that they have with the animal, why is it always Kermit the Frog? Why isn't it with Miss Piggy? You know, why isn't it with Big Bird? Or, you know, all the characters they could have used on Sesame Street, they used the frog. And it goes back, and I was led this morning that it just goes back. I kind of had, my spirit was quickened. And I'm like, wow. Like, this is why all these Kermit memes are coming up, because, and it's been as of recent, within the last couple of years, that I've been seeing these Kermit the Frog memes just came out of nowhere. And I'm like, why are they using the frog? Like, what's the reason? But I'm like, oh, well, no, this is just, you know. But this is what is leading back to Revelation 16-13 about the unclean frog. And this frog, you know, Kermit always has a message for us. he always has a message. He's using his tongue, okay, because that's how they catch their prey. Remember, that's how frogs catch their prey, is using their tongue, which is the same thing that is going on in the churches today. It's how they're catching the prey of the people who are blind and have no understanding. They're using their tongue to catch the prey, and their tongues, their mouth that they're using to teach deceit, is dirt, is filthy, is full of pollution, contamination, and it is unclean doctrine that is going forth. So just like I said again, as the frogs capture their prey using their tongues, in Revelation 16 and 13, this frog is being used symbolically to represent the counterfeit gift of tongues, the lying deceit that is currently sweeping this religion and the world in itself today. We know the scriptures tells us that supernatural manifestations come from Yah, but they also can come from Satan himself as well. And this is why it tells us that it's no marvel that Satan can transform himself into an angel of light in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and 14. And so the supernatural miracles that the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet will perform is going to be done so effectively that all of the world, minus the elect, will be deceived, and they're going to follow this beast, and they're going to accept the mark. And so I kind of also want to talk about the frog goddess. And this was a goddess because I'm getting ready to get into the frogs in Egypt and kind of show this connection. But the frog goddess basically was an Egyptian mythology god. This deity is one of the oldest Egyptian deities. Her name was Heket, Heket, which means magical speech. It pretty much means a defiled tongue or a deceptive speech. She was originally invoked to protect the dead on their way to the afterlife, and then eventually she became a goddess that was associated with childbirth, and we see a lot of a fertility goddess amongst many of these pagan deities that Israel worship. This pagan goddess had a head of a frog. This Heket had her head was that of a frog, and so they said that the Egyptian women will wear a frog amulet for protection during their times of labor, and this Egyptian goddess was also known as the defender of their homes. So we see in Scripture that there is a connection between frogs and the kings, and so I wanted to read a precept. The first precept is coming from Psalms 105 and verse 30, which reads, "Their land brought forth frogs in abundance in the chambers of their kings." And the second precept I'm going to read is coming from Psalm 78, verse 45. Psalm 78, 45 reads, "And he divers sorts of flies among them, which devoured them, and frogs which destroyed them." And so the word destroyed was translated from the Hebrew, which means to destroy, to corrupt, to ruin, to decay. And in many verses, this word had the connotation of a moral decay, which we see is happening within our society of today, a loss of integrity, a degradation in righteousness, which I spoke about earlier. And so we want to show the connection to the frogs, the three frogs that are being mentioned in Revelation 16 and 13 to the Exodus, which is in Exodus chapter 8, verses 1 through 19. So if you could quickly go to Exodus chapter 8, and then we're going to read verses 1 through 19. Exodus chapter 8, verses 1 through 19. "And Yah said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh and say to him, So says Yah, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if you refuse to send them away, behold, I am about to smite all your territory with frogs. And the river will swarm with frogs, and they shall go up and enter into your house, and into your bedroom, and on your couch, and in your servant's house, and on your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading troughs. And the frogs will come up on you, and on your people, and on all your servants. And Yah said to Moshe, say to Aaron, stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, over the canals, and over the pools, and bring up frogs on the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the priests did so with their secret arts, and they brought up the frogs on the land of Egypt. So we see that Pharaoh's priests are duplicating, and shall I say, Yah is allowing them to duplicate what he is doing through Moses, and they're doing the same thing. They're counterfeiting what he is doing. And so again in verse 7, and the priests did so with their magic, and they brought up the frogs on the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Moses and Aaron and said, pray to Yah that he may remove the frogs from me and from my people, and I will send away the people that they may sacrifice to Yah. And Moses said to Pharaoh, glory over me, for when shall I pray for you and for your servants and for your people, to cut off the frogs from you and from your house, that they may be left only in the river? And he said, for tomorrow. And he said, according to your words, so that you may know that none is like Yah, our power. Verse 11. And the frogs will depart from you and from your houses and from your servants and from your people. They will only be in the river. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh. And Moses cried to Yah concerning the frogs which he had set on Pharaoh. And Yah did according to the words of Moses. So we see, Pharaoh has said, okay, just go talk to your God. Tell him, okay, I'm going to let his people go so that you may go to sacrifice unto him, to serve him only. I'm going to just allow all the frogs to go back and be in the river only. Moses obliges. He cries out to Yah and petitions on behalf of what Pharaoh said. He's going to let us go. So Yah, we see in verse 13, says that he did according to the words of Moses, and the frogs died from the houses, from the courts, and from the fields, and they gathered them in heaps and heaps, and the land stunk. So now it's smelling. And Pharaoh saw that there was relief, and he made his heart heavy, and he did not listen to them as Yah had said. And Yah said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the earth, and let it become lice in all the land of Egypt. And they did so. And Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the earth. And the lice were on man and on beast. And all the dust of the earth became lice in the land of Egypt. And the priests performed with their secret arts to bring forth lice, and they could not. And the lice were on man and on beast. So, verse 19. And the priest said to Pharaoh, this is the finger of Yah. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not listen to them as Yah had said. So we're going to stop here, and then I'm going to go ahead and explain. There's some significant meaning to what is going on here right now. We know that Deuteronomy chapter 6 and 22 tells us that the Most High showed signs and wonders, great and sore upon Egypt. So just as Yah performed miracles, so did Pharaoh's priests in Egypt, and so will they do again, but it will be with a counterfeit miracles. That's what we're going to see. So what's happening here and what the connection that I want to show is, first off, there's two significant meanings here. So if you have your paper and pen, write down this. The first significant meaning, we know that the frogs happened during a time when Yah was getting ready, because he was putting the plagues on them because Pharaoh kept hardening his heart. Of course, Yah hardened his heart. He wouldn't let the people go. And so this happened during a time when Yah was getting ready to deliver our people Israel from slavery out of the house of bondage to the promised land to be able to serve him in true worship. However, the frogs that will be coming out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, who I'm going to reveal later who they are, they represent a counterfeit truth, a counterfeit religion, a counterfeit worship of falsehood, paganism, and spiritualism. This is the first significant meaning. Again, this happened during a time when Yah was getting ready to deliver our people Israel from slavery out of the house of bondage, that we might be able to serve him in true worship. But the frogs that will be coming out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, they represent a counterfeit truth, okay? A counterfeit religion, a counterfeit worship of falsehood, paganism, and spiritualism. The second significant meaning is when we relate back to when our people were just about to be delivered from Egypt, this was during the time also when the grace of our Father Yah was up, okay? And I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, so I'm going to repeat this again. The frogs in Revelation 16 and 13, they relate back to Egypt. When the frogs had come upon the Egyptians, it was just before our people Israel, okay, were getting ready for their exodus from slavery in Egypt. Okay, this is when this happened, okay, because during that time that we were getting ready to have our exodus from Egypt, Yah allowed Pharaoh's priests or magicians to duplicate, okay, or emulate what he had done, but they could not, okay, they could not emulate the last plague, which was the lice, okay, and they had to let Pharaoh know, hey, this is by the hand of Yah. There's nothing that we can do. We tried, we did everything else. We are not this powerful. We cannot do this. They had to attribute it to their God, okay? But this was just prior, again, this was between the last plague that he allowed their magicians, their false prophets, to duplicate, to counterfeit. It was just prior to our exodus out of Egypt, out of slavery, out of bondage. So just as the frogs that are spoken at the end of this age in Revelation 16 and 13, it's going to once again happen. When we read in Revelation chapter 16, this in verse 13, where it speaks about the three, the beast, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, this again happens between the sixth and the seventh seal, which is not only the time when the 144,000 are being sealed, and during the time when Yah's probation and his grace is going to run out for the unrepentant, but it's also just before the seventh seal, which is the time and the return of our Mashiach, Yahushua HaMashiach, to deliver his elect, his chosen people. I'm hoping that you're getting what I'm saying. When you go back and read in Revelations, if you go back and read Revelations chapter 16, when we get to verse 13 with the three that are uniting, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, this is happening in between the sixth and the seventh seal, okay? This is during the time when the 144 are being sealed. This is just before our Mashiach return. He returns at the seventh seal. This is when this happens. This is the same time in Egypt after these frogs were set loose, okay, upon Pharaoh and the entire land of Egypt and the Egyptians. That was in between the last plague, just prior to him delivering his chosen people out of Egypt. The same thing is going to happen in between the sixth and the seventh seal. The sixth and seventh seal is just prior to our Hebrew Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach, coming back to deliver his chosen people. Once again, Pharaoh's men were not able on that last plague of the lice, they weren't able to duplicate that. He had given them all the chances that they were going to get. Nothing was coming after that but destruction. And he lost his son. So I'm hoping that you guys are getting this and that you're seeing the connection. So, just as the so-called priests of Pharaoh performed many miracles, many wonders before the people to convince them that they had true power, so will, again, the dragon, who is Satan himself, the beast, who is the papacy in the Roman Catholic Church, and the false prophet, the whore, these false churches. We're going to talk a little bit more about this towards the end of today's lesson. But these three, the dragon, who is Satan, the beast, who is the papacy or the Roman Catholic Church, and the false prophet, the whore's false church systems that's going on today, they're all going to be working together, going forth to not only deceive the kings of the earth, which are the nation leaders, but all those who dwell on the earth. And we have to remember, Satan has always desired to be like Yah. So he continues to set up counterfeit systems. Yah, the Son, and his set-apart spirit are one. And as in the end time, we now see that the dragon, the beast, and we're not talking about no Trinity, okay? But we're going to see in the end time that the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet will all be one, working together, meaning they're all going to be on one accord to fulfill the will of Satan, which is to kill, steal, and destroy the people of Yah, and will even be delusional enough to think that they can all gather the kings of this earth to eventually fight against our Mashiach at his return. So while they have frogs coming out of their mouth, Yahushua will have a sword coming out of his mouth, which he's going to destroy him with the brightness of his coming. And so the spirits, these spirits, these three unclean spirits like frogs are the spirits of devils working miracles. They're seducing spirits that are going forth preaching the doctrines of devils in the latter times, whom Paul says and speaks of in 1 Timothy 4:1. They're like a satanic trinity that's going out, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, and they're working, they have a miracles working ministry of deception. They are like frogs or frog-like in the fact that they're coming forth as pests. They're creeping, they're croaking, they're defiling, they're using their forked tongue to speak deception and lies and feed our people all kinds of abominable doctrines that never came from the Father or the Son. They're defiling the ears of the listeners with their forked tongues, okay? And they're leaving behind their filth, because we know that the tongue and the frog uses their tongue to catch their prey, okay? And when they use their tongue to catch their prey, they leave behind slime. Remember, we talked about slime is corruption, pollution, okay, filth and contamination and uncleanness. This is why Yah uses the frogs symbolically in Revelation 16, verses 13 through 15, and also when they were used in Egypt, because the Egyptians worship their frog deity Heket. He wanted to show, look here, I got more power. This is the God you serve, and I'm gonna show you. This guy gonna do what I tell him to do. That was the last counterfeit miracle that Yah allowed Pharaoh's priests to perform, just prior to the last plague of the lice, which they were not able to duplicate. They will not, the beast, the dragon, and the false prophet will not be able to duplicate the coming of our Mashiach. There will be nothing that they can do. Because, see, the grace is coming out. What's happening in between the sixth and the seventh seal is, if you do not get yourself together right now and the saints are being sealed. The believers in Yahushua are being sealed. That's why he says, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Probation is running out. His grace will soon be taken up out of the earth. You will have no time to repent. All the miracles that they're going to perform are going to be counterfeit. He's going to allow it up until the end of that sixth seal. That's it. Let me reread again, Revelation 16. I want to read verses 13 through 15, because now we're getting ready to go into another prophecy and prophetic message that I want to reveal. Revelation 16, verses 13 through 15. It says, "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons." So he's letting you know that these 3 unclean spirits, like the frogs, they're coming out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. He's letting you know, he says these are spirits of demons. The demons are the disembodied spirits from those dragons. I mean, not the dragons, but the giants, okay, that lived here on the earth at one time, mixed with the seed of man and the seed of the angels mixed together. When they had children, they were giants. At that time, the scriptures tell you in Genesis 6 that there were giants on the earth in those days. They petitioned themselves up to Yah when they died. Yah did not receive them. He said that they shall be evil spirits and they shall dwell on the earth. They were demons. This is what is operating in these people. Many people have spirits of demons operating in them, and they don't even know it. That's what they're being influenced by. But it says in verse 14, Revelation 16:14, "For they are the spirits of demons doing signs which go forth to the kings of the earth, even of the whole inhabitable earth, to assemble them to the war of that day, the great day of El Shaddai. Behold, I am coming as a thief." So Yahushua says, I'm coming as a thief, meaning you're not going to know when I'm coming. A thief don't give you an invitation on when he coming. He don't make an appointment. I'm going to break in your house around 5 o'clock. So you're going to be there or you're going to be gone. No, they're not going to do that. But he says, behold, I come as a thief. So that's symbolically of how a thief comes. You don't know when they coming. Okay? He says, blessed is the one watching and keeping. Now pay attention to what I'm getting ready to say. He says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is the one watching and keeping his garments, that he does not walk naked, that they may see his shame. There is a prophecy and there is a prophetic message in Revelation 16, verse 15. I'm going to read it again. Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is the one watching and keeping his garments. We're going to talk about what garments. And he that does not walk naked. Highlight naked, underline naked, that they may not see his shame, and also shame as well. So, strong Hebrews for shame. Okay? Oh, boy. Strong Hebrews 818 for shame is guilty. Okay? Guilty. One who is faulty. Guilty. That's what strong Hebrews 818 means. Guilty. That's what shame means. So when it goes back, blessed is the one watching and keeping his garment, that he does not walk naked, that they may not see that he is guilty, that he is shameful. Strong Hebrews 6172. Nakedness. Same thing. Nakedness. Disgrace. A blemish. Uncleanness. And it says figuratively disgrace, a blemish, nakedness, shame, and uncleanness. So it's the same thing. So those are strong Hebrews 818, strong Hebrews 6172, and then coming from 6168. So I'm hoping that I'm painting a picture here that you can really see what's going on. Now, I want to look up the word sign. I want to look up the word sign, S-I-G-N, because it says that these will be the ones doing signs. Okay, these three that are going to be working together will be performing signs. Strong Hebrews 226 says a signal, literally or figuratively, a miracle, an omen, or evidence. Strong Hebrews 4159 It says a miracle, a token, an omen, a sign, and a wonder. So the job of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet will be to lead the world astray, and especially the people of Yah, in order to accomplish their will of performing miracles, performing omens, signs, and wonders. And we're going to read some precepts that's going to tell you this is exactly what they said that they're going to do. But their whole thing is they must appear as an angel of light. They will deceive many using their mouth, just like the frog. Remember, Satan spoke with the forked tongue, meaning the words of lies and seducing deceit. Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And James 3:3 says, the tongue is a fire. We know that Yahushua said that his words are spirit. So when we speak certain words, it's spiritual. His word is spiritual. I want to read a precept, and I want to go, if you can quickly go to Matthew chapter 15, and I want to read verses 18 through 20. Matthew chapter 15, verses 18 through 20. It reads, but whatever that proceeds from the mouth proceeds from the heart and becomes a defilement to the man. For from the heart goes out evil thoughts, murder, fornication, theft, a false witness, blasphemy. These things are the things defiling the man. But eating with unwashed hands does not defile the man. So he says whatever proceeds out of your mouth comes from your heart. That's what defiles you. What's coming out of your mouth? What's coming out of the mouth of these false prophets? People who are speaking lies and deceit, these seducing spirits. Whatever is coming out of their mouth is coming from their heart. That, he says, is what defiles you, because in this particular verse, the Pharisees were upset with the disciples because they didn't wash their hands before they ate. And they're like, oh, well, your people transgress, the elders. But Yeshua said, why do you also transgress the commandments of Yah on account of your traditions? Okay? And he took them back to what the Torah said. And then he ended off again saying that whatever proceeds from the mouth comes from your heart, and that's what defiles you. Because he's saying when you eat, whatever it is you eat, it passes through and it's gone. But whatever is coming out your mouth, that's what's coming from your heart, and that is what defiles you. This is how the false prophets and the beast and the dragon will deceive many using their tongues, just like frogs. Frogs use their tongue to capture their prey, and once they're done using their tongue, it leaves behind slime, which again is filth, contamination, and uncleanness. Remember, the frogs being spoken of are the spirits of demons, okay? So these unclean spirits represent false, unclean teachings that are going out because they're using their mouth to teach these things. Now, as it pertains to performing miracles and signs, this is why John 4:48 says, then Yahushua said unto him, except you see signs and wonders, you do not believe. Now, through these false prophets, they're going to be false miracles, false signs and wonders. They're going to convince and cause many to believe a lie without question. We see this all the time because they say, oh, my pastor said. They don't care if the pastor, they wouldn't know if pastor was lying or not. But they have, just like these churches, these ministers, these false prophets, they have convinced many to believe a lie without question, even when, they can clearly see that what is being taught contradicts scriptures. They won't question them, okay? But Yahushua said that only an evil and adulterous generation seeks a sign, meaning they don't believe. They have no faith. That's why they're seeking a sign. So just write down these scriptures because I'm going to be reading quickly. Just write them down as I read them. Matthew chapter 12, verse 38 and 39. If you can catch up with me, then fine. Matthew 12, 38 and 39 says, and then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, teacher, we desire to see a sign from you. But answering, he said to them, an evil and adulterous generation seeks a sign, and the sign shall not be given to it except the sign of Jonah the prophet. Mark 8, verses 11 and 12. And the Pharisees went out and began to argue with him, seeking from him a sign from heaven, tempting him. And groaning in his spirit, he said, why does this generation seek a sign? Truly I say to you, as if this generation will be given a sign. Matthew 16, verses 1 and verses 4. And having come, the Pharisees and Sadducees tempting him, and asked him to show them a sign out of heaven. And he said in verse 4, an evil and adulterous generation seeks a sign, and a sign will not be given to him except the sign of Jonah the prophet. And leaving them, he went away. And I have to honestly say, with Jonah, that was the sign for me to come out of the church, because it was when I was reading that about just as Jonah was in the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man. And I kept counting, and I'm like, he's supposed to be in the earth for 3 whole days and 3 whole nights. Friday resurrection or Friday death, and he on the first day, Sunday, is that when they say that he rose on Sunday morning. I'm like, okay, if that did happen, that still doesn't give you 3 days and 3 nights. So this was the sign for me. He says a wicked and adulterous generation seek a sign, because it's a lack of faith and a lack of trust in what his word said. They don't believe what his word said. Matthew chapter 24. And I want you to go to this, Matthew 24. We're going to read verses 3 through 14 and then verses 21 through 24. So quickly go to Matthew 24, and we're going to begin reading at verse 3. And as he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to Yahushua privately, saying, tell us, what will these things be? What is the sign of your coming and in the end of the age? And answering, Yahushua said to them, see that no man deceives you. See, there's the first warning. The first thing he said is, see that no man deceives you, yet our people are being deceived now more than ever. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they will cause many to be deceived. For you are bound to hear of revolutions and rumors of wars. Watch out and do not be disturbed, for it is necessary that all these things happen, but the end is not yet. For nations will be raised against nations, and kingdom will come against kingdom, and there will be famines and plagues and earthquakes against many places. But all these things are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to be afflicted, and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. And then many will be offended, and they will deliver up one another and will hate one another. And many false prophets will be raised and will deceive many. And because lawlessness shall have been multiplied, the love of many will wax cold. But the one who endures to the end, that one will have eternal life. And this good news of the kingdom shall be published in all the earth for a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Matthew 24, verses 21 through 24. For there will be great suffering, such as has not happened from the beginning of the world until now. No, nor ever will be. Except those days be shortened, not any flesh will be alive. But on the account of my chosen, those days will be shortened. Then if anyone says to you, behold, here is the Messiah, or here, do not believe, for false messiahs and false prophets will rise up, and they will give great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen. So he's saying, look, they're going to be leading the majority of the world astray. He says, but if it was possible. So he's telling you right here that if you are his chosen, you are his elect, you're walking according to his word, you're abiding in him, it's not going to be possible. They're going to try. Because remember, all of Israel is not Israel. That's why I said be very careful of these wolves going around Shalom and Canaan and Nakoti and all of this stuff, and they're not walking the walk. You better know who you're following, who you're listening to, who's influencing you. So signs and wonders are being performed in the churches of today, we see this is going on. They're doing the slaying in the spirit and touching people's forehead and everybody falling back. When I was in the church, I never wanted to do that. I'm trying to figure out why is everybody falling back, because it is a spirit that's going on in there. There are demonic spirits. They're performing miracles, and it's real, but it's a counterfeit miracle that's going on that's in there. It's not by the workings of Yah's set-apart spirit, but they're getting their power from demons. That's what you see going on in the churches is the Holy Ghost spirit, not the set-apart spirit. Those are two different spirits. Yah's spirit is the highest spirit, okay? So what you see in the church, you have to ask yourself, is it a miraculous act, or is it deceptive spirits that's going on? What is spiritualism? How is spiritualism coming into the churches today? Because people tell me, oh, well, my spiritual leader told me this, and my spiritual prophet is, and like, where are you getting this from? None of this stuff is scriptural. You should not have a man or a woman that is your spiritual leader. He says you're covering with a covering, but not of my spirit. What spirit is influencing you? No man can be your spiritual leader. You should only be led by the set-apart spirit, the highest spirit that comes from Yah. But these people, that all the things that you're seeing that's going on in church, this New Age movement, this spiritualism, the people falling out in the aisles and foaming at the mouth and running up, down, and swinging on the light fixtures, that is not the set-apart spirit of Yah. That is how demons act. That's how the spirits act when they're in people and they're possessed and they foaming and doing all those things. That is not how Yah set-apart spirit is. Yah set-apart spirit is not going to act a fool like that. Okay? They have these pastors is claiming they talking to people, oh, well, God told me you getting ready. Yah, maybe God told them, but it wasn't Yah. Okay? They have a pretend communication with the dead. Okay? And you know that the scriptures reveal that they're actually communicating with spirits of devils. These three unclean spirit like frogs represent spiritualism that has come into these demonic churches of today, especially Christianity. Isaiah 8 and 9 in the Torah reads, and when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep, and to them that mutter, should not a people seek unto their Most High Yah for the living to the dead? This is not, our people are not seeking Yah. We want to go to a pastor, and we want to go to these fake false prophets, but this is what they want. They want prophets that prophesy lies and deceit. That's what they tell them. Prophesy lies. That's what the scripture tells us. Don't preach the truth to us. Prophesy lies. And he says, and my people love to have it so. They love the stuff that Creflo Dollar is telling them. They eat it up. They love the stuff that the lies and deceit that T.D. Fake is telling them, and Joyce Lyer and Joe Osteen. They love it. They love it. It's nothing but spiritual manifestations that's coming from demons. Okay? Magic, a.k.a. witchcraft. Witchcraft is in the church live and well. They're performing real miracles, but the spiritual manifestation again, and these false miracles are going to be coming from demons and Satan himself. Now, if we go back when the children of Israel were in the wilderness with Moses, remember when Moses threw down the rod that it became, well, not in the wilderness because they were out, but when they were in Egypt. When when he threw the rod down, it became a snake. And we saw that the Egyptians also replicated what Yah had done. But, again, as I told you earlier, that was the last spiritual deception that Yah allowed. He did not allow another spiritual deception after that, as it will be again when the spirits of demons that will be performing miracles via the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. Again, this is going to be their last performance, their last performing act of deception that Yah is going to allow just before the opening of the seventh seal and just before the return of our Mashiach, Yahushua HaMashiach. That's going to be the last one. That, with the frogs coming out of their mouth, that's going to be the last performing act of deception just prior to our Mashiach, just prior to our Exodus again. So the question is, how will you be able to tell, or can you tell, true spiritual manifestation that comes from Yah versus a false one from Satan? Clearly, based off of what we're seeing in the churches today, they can't. We know that in Egypt, the Egyptians and the sorcerers, everything they did was by the power of the devil himself. And Moses, what he did was through the set-apart spirit and the power of Yah. And so the people of this end time, they're going to be destroyed by and deceived, shall I say, by the false miracles of the false prophet. And many of them have already done it, but they're going to harden their hearts against the truth just before the coming of this last plague. And see, this is why Paul said, who has bewitched you? Who has bewitched you? Who's tricked you? What seducing spirit, he said, has seduced you? What spiritual influence has led you down this road where you believe these things? And many in Christianity worship the image of the beast already with Sunday worship, okay, because Sunday law is coming, and the persecution of the saints and all who will not bow down to the Roman Catholic Church and the papacy, it's all coming. They've already been talking about. He just recently said that we need to make Sunday a holy day. No one can work on. It's coming. It's all setting up. We gotta be ready now. It's no time to rest. We need to be warning our people. We got to get your houses in order. This is where we are right now. David Blaine vomiting up those 3 frogs was a spiritual message that was sent out of what's getting ready to go down. And it's also where we are in Bible prophecy and history, where we are in these end times, how close we are to our exodus from this place and return of our Mashiach. We are here. And our people are lullabied to sleep. We're worried about empire. We're worried about who the Kardashians with. We're worried about all the wrong things. Who got on pants and all that, all the outward stuff. Israel all over the place. They're no worse than the Christians right now. They're no worse. They're no better, shall I say. But many will worship the image of the beast with great devotion, with unparalleled adoration. This is how they're admiring. They're going to love it. Because they're going to be under that strong delusion because they believe the lie is a truth. So since they love lies, Yah's going to send them delusion, and they're going to be condemned. So who is the false prophet? We know that Satan is the dragon, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about the why the beast is, and you know, and we did this at a conference about 4 years ago, I think, where we identify who Mystery Babylon is and who the beast is. But it is the Roman Catholic Church. All the churches are under the Pope recently said all the daughter churches come home. Okay, they let y'all run free, have y'all think that y'all was free from us, but you still teaching their doctrine. That's what he said. Come on home. Okay, you still part of us. Okay, you think that you set yourself free with being a Protestant? No, you're still a part of us. We're still one. You're still teaching our doctrine. You still have bowed down to our image. And even though I changed the Sabbath from the 7th day to the first day, you bow down to my image and what I have commanded, and you have rejected what the Most High has said. And you read it in church, and you still reject it. But let's talk about who the false prophet is. It is being spoken of in Revelation 16:13. Revelations 20, I want to read a precept. Revelations 20, Revelations 19, verse 20. Revelations 19 and 20 reads, and the beast was taken. Okay, the beast is the prophecy. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that brought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. So what does the false prophet do? What does the false prophet do? Well, he performs, we just got finished reading Revelation 19 and 20. He performs miracles before the beast. He deceives many by his miracles and deceives those that receive the mark of the beast, and he causes them to worship the image. The image is the likeness. Just like Yah said that we were made, he created us in his image, okay, in his likeness, okay. When you abide in him, when a husband and wife become one. They're not the same person, but they are one in purpose and will, okay? Same thing. Our will and our purpose should align up with the Father, His Word, and His Torah, okay? And so those who are serving Satan are aligning themselves up with His image and His will, okay? And I want to read Revelations 13, and I want to read Revelations 13, verses 13 through 14. Revelation, this is another precept, Revelations 13, verse 13 and 14. And He does great wonders, so that He make fire come down from heaven on the earth on the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of these miracles which He hath performed to do in the sight of the beast. And this is speaking of the false prophet, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. This is the same thing they did when they was in the wilderness with the golden calf, okay, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So we know that this beast was at one time wounded by the sword but still lived, okay. It lay dormant, almost like sometimes a virus will lay dormant in your body. You still have it there, but you give the illusion that you don't have it anymore because it's not active, it's not doing anything, and then when it wants to decide it want to wake up, oh, here it is. This is what they do when they tell you got to be vaccinated. You might not be affected right away when you're a baby, but then later on you have all these diseases and all these things coming up, and you're like, how did I get this? Where did this come from? Because it's been lying dormant, just waiting for when it was going to be activated. And they know this when they tell you to vaccinate and get all these freaking flu shots, which I'm hoping that those who are serving Yah who are true do not vaccinate your children and do not take no flu shot. But let me get back to the lesson. But again, the precept I just read in Revelation 13 and 14 is speaking of the false prophet, and then it talks about the beast was wounded by the sword and did live, like I said. So we're getting ready to identify the three major actors that will set the stage for this end-time Holocaust that's getting ready to happen. So I'm going to reread once again, going back to Revelation chapter 16, verses 13 and 14. Also, I wonder, did I read here? That's 15. Let me see here. I'm going to read this again. Okay, so let me go back, and I want to add verses 15 to this. So I want to reread Revelation 16, verses 13 through 15. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, out of the mouth of the false prophet. And they are the spirits of demons, doing signs, which go forth to the kings of the earth, even of the whole inhabitable world, to assemble them to the war of that day, the great day of El Shaddai. And then I want to read verse 15. I thought I had that in my notes, but I didn't. And so verse 15 says, behold, I am coming as a thief. And I read this earlier. Blessed is the one watching and keeping his garments, that he does not walk naked, that they may see his shame. So, in reading this, the dragon is Satan. And the precept I'm getting ready to read is Revelations 12 and 9, which says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, the devil, and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and the angels were cast out with him. So there we go with that one. That precept, Revelation 12:9, identifies the dragon as Satan himself. I don't think that was too hard for anybody to believe. Now, the beast is the prophecy. Now, I don't have a whole lesson to do on this, but you can do the research yourself. It's the beast is the prophecy. It is the Roman Catholic Church. And I'm going to give you a precept. I'm going to read a couple of things on that in a second. But the false prophet is Protestant America. And the Protestant church, they decided that they wanted to separate themselves from Roman Catholicism. They're supposed to be different. But at one point they were. but now they're just like them. They were just like a virus that laid dormant and now activated, and they're operating just like the Roman Catholic Church. But again, the false prophet is Protestant America, a.k.a. the apostate church, the church that has fallen away. They are being led, this false prophet, okay, and we know these churches today. They're false prophets. They're being led by the bastardized religion of Christianity. Protestant America is the largest group of Christianity, okay, with all of its denominations. There are thousands upon thousands of denominations, okay? I don't have enough time in the show to read all the denominations that are in Christianity, but Protestant is the largest group of Christianity, a.k.a. institutionalized religion. They are the false prophets working side by side with the dragon, who is Satan, and the beast, who is the papacy, the Roman Catholic Church, who think to change laws and times, and they have already done that, deceiving many. Okay, and the primary purpose of this false union of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet is to join the whole world together in a crusade to persecute the believers in Yahushua HaMashiach and to fight against our very own Messiah in the end, which is not going to work. We already know how that's going to work. But we know that the false prophet is mentioned 3 times in the book of Revelations, in Revelations 16 and 13, Revelations 19 and 20, and then also Revelations 20 and 10, where it says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. So we see these 3 that's mentioned in Revelation 16 and 13 that have the 3 unclean spirits like frog that come out of their mouth, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. We see again in the end in Revelation 20 that these 3 are cast alive, okay, into the lake of fire, where they're going to be tormented day and night and day forever. And so many people think that they are being led by Yah, set apart spirit, but they're actually listening to seducing spirits. And these seducing spirits are teaching them false doctrine that they are not only listening to, but they are defending. And how many of you who are even listening to this show, when you try to show them the truth of the scriptures, and you try to show them even Christmas and Easter, you show them Jeremiah 10, they're ready to cut you. Because they don't want it. There's no way, unless you have to truly be blind, to look at Jeremiah chapter 10 and Deuteronomy chapter 7, verses 25 and 26, where it talks about don't even bring these cursed things that's decked with silver and gold in your houses. There's no way that you can read those 2 scriptural verses and not see that this is a Christmas tree unless you are blind and under the strong delusion, or you have a heart that is forward and you care more about keeping the traditions of men over serving the command and keeping Yah's commandments. He's telling you, do not learn the way of the heathen. People who read that and still want to do it, they're doing it because they love traditions and the traditions and custom of men more than they love Yah. Many people are deceiving themselves when they say that they love Yah because their walk says, I don't. Their walk says, I'm a hypocrite. Their walk says, I'm a stage actor. And that is the reason why the Mashiach is going to deny them and tell them, depart from me, and tell them, I never knew you, and I don't care what you did in my name. I don't care how many demons you cast out. I don't care how many times you prophesied in my name. I don't care about all the miracles. I don't care about the soup kitchen. I don't care how tight your hair was wrapped up. I don't care about your fringes or your beard. I don't care about any of that. I don't care how many conferences you've been to. I don't care. Because you never kept my commandments. You were lawless. I sent my servants and prophets to you day and night, night and day. You act like you didn't see Jeremiah 10. You act like you didn't see Deuteronomy 28. You act like you didn't see Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11, where it told you to keep my Sabbath, and you wanted to keep Sunday because you talking about your pastor said. He's not going to care. He's not. Revelations 13 and 12 says the following. If you can go to Revelations 13 and 12, it says, and this is supposed to be the one that is operating like the lamb-like beast, okay? And this is nothing but the United States. And you have to go back. I have done one of our earlier videos is still under Daughter of Yah, that the United States is Mystery Babylon, okay? You have to have a set-apart spirit of Yah to understand it. You have to look at the prophecies. You have to look at the signs and the history and what's going on to be able to connect the dots. But it says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Now, remember we talked about earlier that beast who was wounded but still lived. Okay, just like I talk about that virus that's still there, laying dormant, waiting for that time to be activated, waiting for that right time. Okay, here we go. This is this is talking about none other than the United States. They rose to power in the late early 1800s, right after the first beast, Rome. Rome is the first beast that was wounded. America is the beast who spoke like a lamb, meaning who claimed that they promoted and were a nation under God, keeping his commandments, but now have completely disconnected themselves from all righteousness. They have removed prayer in schools. They have removed the Ten Commandments out of the courts. They have forbidden prayer in schools. But somebody can sit up and go to the Secretary of State and take a picture with goat horns. You can have Christmas in the schools, which is a religious holiday and inflicted upon those who don't serve it. But then you tell us, I can't pray in school, but you can bring Santa Claus and all kind of other religious. Christmas is a religious holiday. They are going to unite church and state. This is getting ready to happen. Rome was the first beast that was wounded, and America is the beast who spoke like a lamb that Revelations 13 and 12 was speaking of. They claimed that they were going to be a nation under God. They put it on the back of their money and all this and the Constitution they was going to keep. They have done away with all of that. This current administrator, he made sure when he came in, before he go out, which I don't believe he's leaving and going nowhere anyway, but made sure that he got rid of all the laws. Everything that was righteous was terminated. They have completely disconnected themselves from all that is righteous. They have turned their back on the one whom they claimed that they was going to keep his commandments. They will eventually combine, like I said, church and state, and cause all to worship the image of the beast, Sunday worship, okay, which is not going to be a literal chip, okay, because the image is the likeness of, just like a child can be. How many times you've seen children and they cut and be like, you just like your daddy, just like your bad, you just like, look at this bad child. Look at him. He acting just like his mama. Or you just looking just like your mama. A lot of times because you act like them, you have certain characteristics, certain ways. You are walking in the image of the one that is reigning and raising and training you up. We're made in his likeness, but many of us are not walking in his light. You're walking like your daddy is Satan, not Yah. But Rome is the beast, okay, that was wounded. When you go back and read, I'm reading precepts, so you have to learn how to line up precepts. You're not going to understand Revelation because everything is not in order. You're not going to understand it if you don't know how to study and you don't know how to line up precepts. Revelation 13 and 12 says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. That is what's going on. America is leading a crusade against Yah. They're causing all the other nations to worship the first beast. Who was the beast that was wounded and now lives? It's Rome that's rising back up again. This is the Roman Catholic Church. It will be the mirror image of the satanic practices, policies, and persecutions of the Roman Catholic Church of the Middle Ages. By their decree, forcing the institution of the papacy in violation of the law of Yah. Again, our nation, I was going to say eventually, but they have disconnected themselves totally from all that is righteous. Preeta, you can come in. I'm trying to figure out because I'm trying to figure out where. Okay, because look. I got so many notes laying all over the place. I got so many notes laying all over the place. Because I have something I wanted to add here. We know that, I just wanted you to hang in here with me, but John tells us in Revelations, because I still got to do the Adam and Eve, which is not going to take me nothing but a second. John tells us in Revelation 17 and 15 that water represents people. Okay, if you read Revelation 17 and 15, it tells you that water represents people. And the water, he says, which you saw are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the harlot woman who sits on the many waters is identified as the apostate, false religious system that we have going on now. They're the daughter churches. Listen closely. They're the daughter churches that sit under the control of and teach the doctrine of the Roman Catholic Church. That's what people tell me. I'm not a Roman Catholic. You are. That's what they're teaching in Christianity.
Yeah.
The doctrine, all denominations, you are under the umbrella of the Roman Catholic Church. That's why he said, come on, daughter churches, come on. That's the doctrine that when you're teaching the laws done away with, that's Roman Catholic. When you have bowed down to Sunday worship and you reject the Sabbath and you tell them that it don't matter on which day you worship, every day is the Sabbath, that's the Roman Catholic. Where do you think they're getting that stuff from? They were persecuting the believers in Yah who wanted to keep the Sabbath. They were killing them. The churches of today have been whoring with the gods of Babylon, the gods of the Egyptians, and every other pagan god that they saw coming in their path. They have been an unfaithful bride. Israel, you have been an unfaithful bride. You have not been loyal to Yah. You are under the plagues. You're not under the blessing, like your false prophet is teacher telling you. And it's so bad now that they have those who are not of the faith, even those believing that the word of Yah can't. They got people believing that the word of Yah can't even be trusted, just because of they see how you act. And he says, you make my word blaspheme before the heathen. They see you. You telling them to keep the Torah, he says, but you don't keep it. Yah's word is not contaminated. His word can be trusted. But what really can't be trusted is their contaminated doctrines. They're using their tongues. They're leaving behind their slime, just like a frog. They're intentionally twisting the scriptures by their lying false prophets who speak words of uncleanness and speak doctrines of demons. They're the ones that can't be trusted. And so I want to go back. And Prina, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
A prophecy warning that's in Revelation, because we're at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the queue. So if anybody does have any questions, you can press *6 on your phone now. And then if you have a question or comment about today's show, you can go ahead and do that. But Revelation 16, I want to read Revelation 16 again, and I'm going to read verses 13 through 15. I'm going to show you the connection to the beginning of what's being said, the prophetic message. Can you hear me, Prina? Prina?
I can hear you, sis. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I thought you had went out because I heard a beep. Okay.
Yeah, I had to switch phones. One of my phones was dying.
Okay. All right, so I want to read the prophetic message that earlier I gave you the definition of naked and shame, just to highlight that. And so let me read again. Revelation 16, verse 13 through 15. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons doing signs, which go forth to the kings of the earth, even of the whole inhabitable world, to assemble them to the war of that day, the great day of Yah. Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed. Now, pay very close attention. He says, I am coming as a thief. Remember, when a thief comes, you don't know when he's coming. It's going to be unexpected and unannounced. He says in Revelation 16, verse 15, blessed is the one watching and keeping his garments, that he does not walk naked, that they may see his shame. Highlight naked and shame if you haven't done so, and just thesource.com. Okay, naked means without covering. When you're naked, you are without covering. It says exposed, uncovered, nude, helpless, defenseless, unclothed. Again, blessed is the one watching and keeping his garments, keeping your garments of righteousness on, that he does not walk naked, and they may see his shame, that he does not walk naked, that he is not without a covering, that he is not exposed, that he is not defenseless, unclothed, and unprotected. When you walk outside of the will of Yah, you are naked. You are unprotected. You have no covering. You are defenseless. Strong Hebrews for naked, because I gave you thesaurus.com, it says the same thing as the source. Strong Hebrews for naked 6168 says uncovered. It means you don't have a covering. It says to expose. Same thing. It says to perish. So why are today's churches naked? Why are they exposed? Why are they uncovered? Why are they defenseless? Why are they nude? Why are they naked? Revelations, I'm going to read a precept. Revelations chapter 3, and I want you all to go so you can see this, because I'm getting ready to really hit you up. Revelations chapter 3, and write this down. This is the first precept. Revelations chapter 3, verses 17 and 18 says, because you say, I am rich. This is our Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach speaking. Because you say, I am rich, and I am made rich, and I have need of nothing, and do not know that you are miserable and a wanderer and poor and blind and naked. You think that you're rich. You think that you don't need anything, he says. But Yeshua says you don't have any idea that you're miserable, that you're a wanderer, that you're poor, you're blind, and you're naked. You don't even realize that you're naked. You don't realize that you're exposed. You don't realize that you're defenseless. You don't realize that you are unclothed. You don't realize that you have no covering. Let me continue on. Verse 18. I advise you to buy from me gold having been tried by fire, that you may be rich. He said, you think you're rich, but your gold hasn't been tried by fire. He says, once you have gold that has been tried by fire, then you may be rich. He says, and white garments, that you may be clothed, because right now you're uncovered. Right now you're exposed. That's what it means. You're unclothed. That's what naked means. But you think you got clothes on, but you don't. You think you got on garments of righteousness, but you don't. He says, again, Revelations 3 and 18, I advise you to buy from me gold having been tried by fire, that you may be rich, and white garments, that you may be clothed, and your shame and nakedness may not be revealed. I'm going to read that again. That you may be clothed Because right now you're uncovered and you're unclothed, according to thesaurus and strong Hebrew 6168 and 8 and 6544. He said that you may be clothed and your shame and nakedness may not be revealed. Is this not the same thing that we read in Revelation, verse 16, verse 15? He says, I come as a thief. Blessed is the one watching and keeping on your garments. You got your garments of righteousness on. You're protected. You're covered. You're not left unprotected. Blessed is the one watching and keeping his garment, and he does not walk naked. Blessed is the one that is not walking naked, that they may see your shame. That lines perfectly with Revelation 3, verse 18, that you may be clothed and your shame and nakedness may not be revealed, meaning you may not be exposed. And anoint your eyes with eye salve that you may see. He's saying you blind. You think you can see, but you can't. Those who are still stuck in Christianity or organized religion, they're blind and they don't know it. They're naked and they don't know it. They think that they're covered. They think that they know him, and that's why when they get to him on that day in Matthew 7, he's going to say, I don't know you. You naked. You exposed. Depart from me. You in your shame. Go put some clothes on. I'm getting ready to go. I want you to go now to Genesis chapter 3. And we're getting ready to read Genesis 3. Verses 1 through 13. Genesis 3, verses 1 through 13. And the serpent was cunning above every beast of the field which Yah Most High had made. And he said to the woman, Is it so that Yah has said, You shall not eat from any of the tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, Of the fruits of the trees of the garden you may eat. But of the fruit of the trees in the middle of the garden Yah has said, You shall not eat of it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, Surely you shall not die, for Yah knows that in the day you eat of it, even your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as Yah, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree was desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. And the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked. Are you getting this? They knew that they were naked. They knew that they were exposed. They knew that they were uncovered, that they were unprotected. They were ashamed. As he said in Revelation 3:18, that you may be clothed and your shame and nakedness may not be revealed. When Adam and Eve disobeyed the Father Yah, they were ashamed. And it was at that moment that they knew that they were exposed. They knew that they were unclothed. They knew that they were uncovered. They were ashamed. That's why it continues in Genesis 3 and 7 that they sewed leaves of the fig tree and made girdles for themselves. Why would they do that if they weren't ashamed? Verse 8. And they heard the sound of Yah walking up and down in the garden at the breeze of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves. Why are they hiding? Because they're exposed. Because they know that they're unclothed, that they are no longer covered with the righteousness of garments that Yah had once covered them with. So they hid themselves from the face of Yah in the middle of the trees of the garden. And Yah said in verse 9, when he called to the man and said to him, Where are you? And he said, I have heard your sound in the garden, and I was afraid, for I am naked. Adam said, I'm naked. I'm exposed. I'm unclothed. I'm uncovered. I'm ashamed. That's why I hid myself. Are you looking at this? And he said, Who told you you were naked? Who told you that you were no longer protected? Who told you that you were exposed? Who told you you were uncovered? Have you eaten of the tree of that which I commanded you not to eat? And the man said, the woman whom you gave to me. Here we go. This is what our men do now. Try to put it off on the woman instead of taking accountability. You the head. He gave you charge over her. But you dropped the ball. Now you want to try to blame it on her. But he says, the one that you gave to me, she has given to me of the tree, and I ate. And Yah said to the woman, what is this that you have done? And the woman said, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. The serpent deceived me. The serpent, who is the dragon, who is Satan himself, who you, like the frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, like frogs, use their what? Their tongue to what? Capture their prey, leaving behind slime, which is contamination, uncleanness, filth, and pollution. He deceived her using his tongue. When Adam and Eve disobeyed Yah, they rebelled against him. They, at that moment, lost their covering and were naked before Yah. They were exposed. Hence the reason why they covered themselves, because they were ashamed after they had sinned against him. The dragon, just as he was in the garden, the beast and the false prophet, they're doing the same thing right now that Satan did to Adam and Eve. They are using their forked tongues, Prina, you can come in, of teaching false doctrines of demons, just like frogs, to catch their prey, to deceive and cause all to serve Satan, thus making them naked. The churches of today are naked, and they have no shame for what they do against Yah. They are not ashamed of all the people that they are leading astray, using their tongue. That is why Yah used frogs. Revelations 18:4 says, and after these things I saw another cherub come down out of heaven, having great authority, and the earth was lit up from his glory. And he cried with a strong, great voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. It is fallen. It has become a dwelling place of those possessed by demons, a home of every foul spirit, a home of every unclean bird, even the home of every unclean and hateful beast. It is because of the wine of the anger of her fornication, which all the nations have drunk. Even the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich with the power of her trade. And I heard another voice out of heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people, that you may not share in her sins, that you may not receive of her plagues, just like they received of those plagues in Egypt. He is calling out to you right now. The message in Revelation 16 and 13 is in between the 6th and 7th seal. The last deception that is going on using the tongue from the dragon, the beast, and the false prophets in these institutionalized church and Christianity in itself, just prior to our Mashiach's return. It is going to be too late. This is where we are right now. These three are working in unison right now, leading our people astray. They're using their tongues. You got Joe Osteen talking about gays getting into heaven. TD Fake telling people that you can worship on any day. forked tongues, slime they leave behind, corruption, filth, and contamination. They are contaminating the word of Yah, pretending like they're serving him, pretending like they're leading you to him, pretending like your worship is true. That's why Yahushua said, woman, you don't know what you're worshiping. Who is influencing you? Who are you listening to? Are you caught up just because they have a lot of people following them? Do they have a large congregation? Do they have a lot of people listening to them on Facebook, on YouTube? Are you caught up in the way they speak Hebrew? Are you caught up in their beard, the way they dress, their hair wrapped up? They seem real learned, then they can come and slide in. Joseph is the seed. He is the father. Sex is marriage. Homosexuality is okay as long as the husband is present. Can they come in with their forked tongues and leave their slide behind, and you're going to believe it? We are in between this seal now. The 144,000 are being sealed. This is why the Father gave me this message, because it is an urgent message. It is time for you to come out of her, my people. It's time for you to come out of religion. It's time for you to stop putting your trust in men and get in that word and see what it says for yourself. Your salvation is at risk. These men are hirelings. They don't care about you. They care about your money. They are in cahoots with the beast and the dragon. They are meeting with them now. I've seen pictures of them meeting. What are they doing meeting if separation of church and state is supposed to be right now? That's not happening. How are you listening to, how can you listen to somebody just because they say they have a Hebrew organization? I don't care how long they've been teaching truth. The minute you see them go off and go astray, you need to let it go. He says, come out from among them. What is wrong with our people? Prina, I don't get it. What is going on with our people?
Yeah, I don't get it either, sis.
God is spirit, and he says those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Our society, the very fabric of our society, the demoralization of our society is in full swing. Yeah. There's no morals. The spirit of exaltation, of self, and a longing to have your independence from Yah is in full swing. The belief that we can sin without impunity, meaning free from punishment, free from the consequences of our actions and the liability, is in full swing. The delusion that we can draw the world in by compromising with the world and joining with evil people who serve Satan is in full swing. We're at the last moment in time where we can turn this around and repent. That's why he gave me this message, because it is for everybody who is listening now. Who are you listening to? Who are you attaching and joining yourself to? If you are joining yourself with anybody, I don't care. I've been seeing a lot of people who have been disassociating themselves with a lot of these Hebrew camps and teachers because they're teaching falsehood. If they're mixing in truth with a lie, you can't say, well, I'm gonna eat the meat and spit out the bones. You know what Yah told me years ago when I heard that? He said, this is the way of an adulterous woman. She sits at the table, she eats and she gets full, then she wipes her hand, pushes herself back, and say, I have done no wickedness. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the scripture right now. A little bit of leaven leavens the whole lump. There is no such thing as a little bit of poison. I don't care how learned they are in the word. If you see somebody starting to go off the path, you need to be, first of all, coming to them with the word. He says, you shall not see sin against your brother. You shall not hate your brother in your heart and see sin upon him and don't warn them. I warn people. But after that, it's up to them. Yeah. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. But if you see that this person does not want to step back from teaching falsehood, because, see, the frogs capture their prey with their tongue. That's what these three are going to unite to do. There are people that I was close to, people that I once was doing things with. Y'all pulled me away, and I didn't see it then. Now I'm starting to see it. Yeah. You cannot form relationships and have unity and coexist Like the bumper sticker say, you can't coexist with people who serving Satan. Mm-hmm. If they are teaching falsehood, they mixing truth with lies. He says a little bit of leaven leavens a whole lump. Why is it that you will not believe what the word says? Oh, well, they've been teaching. They brought me in the truth. So what? They're going off the path.
Yeah.
Warn them. If they don't want to walk back, he said if they walk in disorderly, separate yourselves from them so that they might be ashamed. Too many people in the churches, they know people are walking in unrepentant sin, and they got the gay people singing in the choirs and directing the choirs, and they don't teach repentance. They allow the people to continue on in their sins, pat them on the back, make them feel like they're good and the sin is their end because Jesus don't pay it all and there's no more wrong that they can do. And then these people are going to get before our Mashiach. These are going to be the ones that's going to stand before him. That was listening to the false prophet that used his tongue. These are going to be the ones that's going to listen to him, and they're going to be standing to the Mashiach. They're going to stand before him, and he's going to play back everything, every person that he sent to get them to repent, and every person that they rejected. They're going to be running down their long list of all the things they did in their institutionalized church and religion when he told them to come out. They're going to think that he's going to tell you, I didn't pay it all. Caesar Borgia paid it all. I didn't pay nothing. I ain't had nothing to do with that. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to wake up. This is a prophetic message that the Father has given to me, an urgent warning, because we're at the last moment where we can turn this around. Yeah. This is where we are. These three, the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, they're all working together right now to push this illusion that we can cast off righteousness and still make it into the kingdom. Or we can combine them. Just eat the meat and spit out the bones. He told you a little bit of leaven's the whole lump. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yah is spirit and truth. He is a spirit. Those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth, full truth. Not half truth. Not 95% truth. Oh, well, the majority of the stuff come out from among them. They're false prophets. Many of them, some of them may be going off the path. It is for you to re-correct them with love and bring them back with the word. Yeah. And if they don't want to do that, and they operating out of a prideful spirit, and they want to be forward and continue, you owe them no loyalty. I wish many of us Hebrew Israelites would get that. You think you owe them something. You are already a part of a camp, the body of HaMashiach. Many members, but one body. I'm not trying to join with nobody else. Mm-hmm. I can listen to different people, but guess what? I got my ears on. I'm listening, and the minute I hear you saying something crazy, I'm done. I'm done. Stay on the path. Mashiach told me a long time ago when some of these Hebrew Israelite camps come in, he says, I have revealed the road of life to you. He says, get away from these people. He told me to get away from them. Come out from among them. Just because they're Hebrew Israelites does not mean anything. It's more to this walk. Being a Hebrew Israelite or knowing that you're Hebrew Israelite doesn't mean you're in truth. I hear people say, he in truth, he know we Israelite. Okay, just because he know he Israel doesn't mean he in truth. What is he doing?
Yeah, exactly.
How's he living his life? He fornicating, he ain't in truth. Period. Just because you know that we are the chosen people, I hear plenty of our people know they're the chosen people, then they sign out here in the corner cursing people out, hate the white man, telling nobody other nation they're not going to be saved. They're trying to put women in all kind of bondage, telling you sex is marriage. They don't believe in the Messiah no more. Oh, I don't believe in the New Testament no more. Oh, Paul trying to lead you astray. Oh, Joseph is the father. All kind of foolishness. Oh, but they're Hebrew Israelites, so I'm going to ignore that he blaspheming the set-apart spirit. Okay. Because you know we Hebrew. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean you in truth. When you walking in truth, you can be a Gentile and be in truth if you keeping these laws, statutes, judgments, and commandments. It's more to being in truth. Don't be fooled by somebody speaking Hebrew because they know we Israel. Are they walking according to this word? That's how you're going to identify a false prophet. He says, by their fruits you shall know them. There's nothing else more that I can say. But they're pushing the agenda that you can cast off righteousness and still make it into the kingdom.
Yeah.
Most have bought into this lie.
Mm-hmm.
And they have never stopped. They have never stopped.
No.
To think that these three, okay, they ain't probably in the past ain't even probably read Revelation 16, let alone talk about it, but they have never stopped to think that they are leading them nowhere.
Yeah.
Only place Satan has nothing for you. He can't offer you nothing. Anything he offers you is temporary and it's counterfeit.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be destroyed soon. He can't offer you anything. Only thing he can offer you is lead you right back into captivity, into bondage, into slavery to sin, which is going to ultimately cost you your salvation, and have Yeshua tell you, I never knew you, depart from me.
Yeah.
Y'all say my people don't even consider. Prina, what are your last thoughts? Again, if you have any questions, any comments, if you were blessed by today's lesson, if you have anything to say, press *6 on your phone. But Prina, what's your thoughts on today's lesson?
Oh, my goodness, my mind was blown away on, just not only the fact that we are just so close to this, the 6th and 7th seal just being open, but just the relation and how it relates to us in the wilderness, before we were, in Egypt, when Moses told Pharaoh to let our people go, and how it is synonymous with us, like, today, and what's going to happen in the end times. And it's just, and not only that, my head was spinning, like when you were talking about the nakedness. I could just, my mind, before you even mentioned Adam and Eve, I remembered just them losing their spiritual cover and how they felt so distraught over it. And they lost their spiritual eyes that they wanted to kill themselves. And the Spirit would not let them kill themselves, no matter how many times they tried. And it's just, this was a powerful message. And if our people don't take heed to this prophecy and repent and start living for Yah and not the traditions of men, as you said, sis, and as we've said before in our shows, His grace is about to run up out of here, and that's why, a lot of people are grieved and their spirits are grieving, and some of them probably can't even put a finger on it. But this has just really opened my eyes to just how close we really are. I'm saying, I know our slavery is ending for us in 400 years, in 2019. But it's just seeming, I can really see it now. You understand what I mean? It's just like this lesson was just open my eyes to the urgency of we don't have time. We don't have time. It's either you're gonna act now, choose this day who you gonna serve, or you're gonna get left behind, deceived by Satan, and the only gift wrapping you're gonna have is a package to hell. And so
that's not funny, but it's true.
Yes, and I just the analogy of the frog and the princess and how we have been brainwashed year after year, and you don't think about these subliminal movies and these subliminal things, like how they make unclean things clean. And, and the programming that they have done over the years, and how the Roman, not only just the movies, and because we know Esau and all that is behind that the movie entertainment business, but just the dragon and the beast and the the false prophet, and how they all are working together, and and how we are just that close to the Messiah showing up on the scene.
Because the plague, I kind of wanted to show the when the frogs were released in Egypt, that was just prior to our Exodus and Him delivering us, and the same thing is happening with these frogs. the three frogs that are coming out with unclean spirits come out of the dragon, the beast,
Yes.
and the false prophet. It's the same thing just prior to the seventh seal. This is happening between the sixth and the seventh seal. The seventh seal is the return of the Mashiach. Okay, they won't be able to stop that. They won't be able to duplicate that, even though they ain't going to try. They tried with the lice, but they weren't. The last act was the frog in Egypt, and the last act of deception is going to be these three unclean frogs that's coming out in Revelation 16, operating through these three. Okay, and see, I wanted to show the connection of the frogs and also talk about the nature of the frogs, how they capture their prey. This is the same way that the deceit is going out through these unclean spirits, is through the use of their tongue. And then also, when I found out about the slime, and y'all was like, look up slime. And when I looked up slime, it was like filth, corruption, pollution, uncleanness. And then he had me look up what naked meant. And when I looked up naked, and then he was like, first thing that came in my head with nakedness and shame was Adam and Eve in the garden. And when I looked up in the strong Hebrews, and found out that it meant uncovered, unprotected. And I remember back when we were reading about how they were after, they found out. All of this is coming together. Y'all gave me so many revelations in this, and I'm like, this is going to be a powerful lesson. But this is an urgent message that I pray and hope that our people get. Like, do you care about where your soul goes? This is how close we are. They're on the scene. They're doing this right now. The false prophet is already, we're seeing this happening right now. Yeah,
and just for David Blaine to, the demons to let you know. I mean, it's just like that symbolism, of it, let you know how close we really are. And and I know a lot of people think that's all in fun and entertainment and stuff. But when you brought it out, you could see the prophecy fulfilling, and
if you heard in the audio clip, he said the first thing he said, because they were like, there were frogs in Egypt.
Yes, he did.
So it was letting you know. This was a spiritual prophecy that was letting you know. And he didn't vomit up one frog or two frogs. He vomited up three. And so if you want to actually see it for yourself, and remember, frogs swallow their prey whole. They don't chew. He vomited them frogs up whole.
Yes, he did. Yes,
did you see it? Did you go to YouTube?
Yes, I went and watched it, and I was just, disgusted. And they were at first they were laughing around and stuff, but you could see some of the horror that came on some of the people's faces. Oh my goodness, this is real. And just to see David Chappelle, I was a little
David Chappelle.
He went through. Yes,
I think he went back. Clearly, and guess who else was there? Stephen Curry, the one that's supposed to be a man of God. So I'm like, why are you hanging with Drake and them? So I'm like, y'all need to quit. What? He says, by their fruits you shall know them. Bad company corrupt good behaviors. What communion does light have with darkness? Okay? You got to remember those. People need to remember what the word tells you. Like spirits agree. How can two walk unless they agree? So what if they got him, Stephen Curry, out here as this man of God and blah, blah, blah. Why is he hanging with Drake, who is a known Satan worshiper? Why is he over here with David Chappelle and all these other celebrities that are Satan worshipers, and a magician who is a necromancer and performing witchcraft and magic? If he's so-called a man of God, okay, like they say. Come on now. By their fruits you shall know them. How can two walk unless they agree? Come on. Got to start, you got to start looking at the fruits. Look at the walk. That's how you know a false prophet. I had already figured him out, and a lot of this stuff was an act a long time ago with a performing act that he had did with the ball that he threw and the way that he did and the look that he had on his face. I have discerning the spirits, and I picked up on the spirit. I knew then something was off. When I saw him there at that party with them while he was regurgitating these whole frogs, I was like, okay. And he did it with so much ease.
Yeah, he did.
Nothing was in. He opened his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
You could see it was nothing there, and then that they came out. So no man can do anything like that. They are getting... He's getting help, and that is being done by demons. And it was a prophetic message that was being sent to the end-time believers. Remember, when these frogs came out in Revelation 16 and 13, this is in between the 6th and the 7th seal. His grace and his probationary period is running out. The times of the Gentiles is being fulfilled right now, like Deborah, y'all was saying. Y'all better stay y'all bus here. Stop trying to go over to Israel and all these other places. He didn't tell you that. He's already told you how we getting back there. You have to wait. Stop
and you
being
have
anxious.
to trust in His word,
and
and allow Him to be God. We want to do Yah's job. Let Him. That's what's wrong with Israel, and we just like when Deborah was saying, we want all our inheritance, but we want to put Yah out the way.
Yeah, we don't want Yah. We just want to know, okay, we got inheritance, we got a land. We want everything that comes with serving Yah, but we don't want to actually serve Him. And that's why we need to stop getting caught up with just because what somebody look like. I can't say this enough. I've said this many times. Yeah. That's why nobody is getting ready to deceive me. And I'm not getting ready to be caught up about, or I don't get caught up in all of that. If you want to dress like that, that's fine. But there's no commandment that tells you.
Yeah, well, some of them look like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
okay?
Some of them. Yeah, I don't know where some of them get
Halloween costumes get up. It ain't. Don't look.
And you're not really. No one is receiving you when you're dressed like that because you look like you from another time warp. Nobody's receiving you. You know, sometimes you gotta be ultimate so they can receive you. I'm not saying we can't embrace our culture, and some of that stuff we don't know what our culture is. It's what they're telling you. We don't know for sure. Stop worrying about the outward appearance because Yah said He does not care about that. He said He looks at the heart. That's like the Pharisees were worried about the disciples washing their hands. They weren't concerned about their wicked heart. He said you worried about that, but you transgress the traditions. Transgress the commandments of Yah so you can keep your traditions. He said it's what's coming out of your mouth is what's going to defile you. You worried about somebody washing their hands, but what's really in your heart? That's what He said. That's all He cares about. I don't dress like that because that's just not my preference. But anybody who truly knows me know that I love my Father Yah. I love His Son Yahushua, and I love my people, and I am about drawing people to Yah. I don't want no following. I don't want nobody drawing men to me, and I do not take any credit. All praises be to the Most High Yah for this lesson because He gave it to me, and He helped me put it together. I do nothing, and apart from Him, I am nothing. And I do not exalt myself. I don't have no following, and I hate when people say, oh, I got how many people following. I have no following. People who love to listen to me, and you being blessed by me, all praises be to Yah. I am happy that I do get a lot of people contacting me saying how they have been that I have blessed them. And that's what I'm supposed to be doing, bearing fruit for the kingdom, not to myself, because I have no kingdom, and there's nothing that I can do for you but share His truth, and that's it. And stay on the path. Stay on the straight and narrow path. Stop following behind men. Put your trust in Yah. It's okay to listen to people, but make sure you follow the word and make sure that what they're teaching you lines up. And if it doesn't, stop listening to them. Pray for them and keep it moving. But you owe no one anything. Your loyalty is not to man. Your loyalty is to Yah.
Yes.
So we have no questions, Prina. Any last words before?
Just come out of this counterfeit religion and stop being deceived by Satan. You know, as we read and over time, heard that he come to deceive the world, but he only can deceive the world if you believe the lies over the truth. So, it's time to get your house in order. It's time for you to examine your heart and for you to seriously know that we are at the 6th and 7th seal. It ain't, like I'm quite sure our grandparents probably thought about, they've been heard, the kingdom of Yah is at hand, and but it's really here. It is really really here. And so it's time to get ourselves.
Already on the scene. They're slowly working towards it.
We ain't got 20, 30 years. It's really here.
I don't believe that. I really don't. I don't know how much time, but I believe that we are very close. And I'm not giving no prophecy of when because nobody knows.
I know not the time or the hour, but I'm saying I don't think it's 20, 30 years.
No, the beast is on the scene. The dragon is already here. And the false prophets, we already see what's going on. And we see that they're using their mouth and their tongue to deceive. And all of the things that was shown, don't get caught. Like he said, I come as a thief. Don't get caught. Keep on your garments.
Yeah.
Don't get caught naked when he comes. Because if he come and you naked, you uncovered. That's it. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say. And so you can go ahead and lead us out with prayer. And, yes.
All right, so I'm reading from 1 Chronicles 29, verses 10 through 13, and verse 18. And David blessed Yah before the eyes of all the congregation. And David said, Blessed are you, O Yah, the power of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. To you, O Yah, be the greatness and the power and the high esteem and the victory and the majesty. For all in the heavens and the earth belongs to you. O Yah, yours is the kingdom, and you lift up yourself to all as head. And the riches and the honor come before you, and you rule over all. And in your hand is power and might, and it is in your hand to make great and to give strength to all. And now our power, we are giving thanks to you and giving praise to your high esteemed name. O Yah, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers, keep this forever for the intent of the thoughts of the heart of your people, and prepare their heart toward you. In Yehoshua's name, so be it.